personal banking services. And in this area, we will consider checking accounts, transactional services, saving accounts, home loans, credit cards, and personal loans. Both banks are major players in this arena, but who is ahead of the game?
Look, let's go back to the beginning. I mean, Standard Bank was basically established when Johannesburg was established, and it has built its capital base up bit by bit. It's again one of the major players. In each of those areas you mentioned, they've got 20 or 25% market share. Maybe it's a little bit more, maybe it's a little bit less. And that's because people, need banking services in the modern economy. They need to have online banking. They need to have a credit card. They need to have debit card functionality. They need homes. They need home loans. They need motor vehicle finance, all this other stuff. So they're in that space. FirstRand has been here as Barclays Bank, again, since Ma fell off the bus back in the 1800s, steadily accumulating and building up their market share. Both of them are excellent in that environment. Both of them are well run, well profitable as well, you'd have to say. There is a little bit of pushback from private clients about fees, but I don't think there's all that much to separate them in the marketplace, to be frank.
They're both relatively expensive on the on the fee side?
Well, I suppose you'd have to say, are they expensive or not? I think banks offer a fabulous service to people insofar as they create all the functionality of modern life and paying bills. So whatever you pay them is absolutely pitiful compared to the convenience of the service, but maybe I'm an unusual sort of customer.
So Jean-Pierre, who stands out for you?
Well, if you look at the two retail banks, the two personal and business banking operations of these two that we're comparing, it seems like FirstRand has taken a lead in the last 2 to 3 years. They've really taken market share from Standard Bank and from their other competitors. They've been especially aggressive in trying to go for primary transaction clients. So giving away iPads, for instance, talking about e-bucks, helping you as a client to shift.
They were voted as the most innovative bank in the world just recently.
Exactly, yes. And you see that as well when you go into their new look branches. Very innovative, a use of a lot of technology. And Standard Bank has reacted, especially in the last year or so, to try and stem the losses on primary accounts and try and get back at FirstRand. So it's interesting where we are right now, where FirstRand has taken the lead, but Standard Bank is fighting to win and trying to come back. If you look at the certain business lines that Standard Bank has been more aggressive with of lately, it's home loans and personal loans. So FirstRand still prefer personal loans because of the higher profitability, and they say they don't like home loans that much, while Standard Bank is being more aggressive on more fronts at this stage.
Do you think that Standard Bank can play catch-up in this space?
They have in the last few months crawled back and taken back a few percentage points of market share. So as they continue, yes, it does look like they can. But when it comes to innovation, it's very tough for someone to just say, well, the competitor is doing it, we want to do it too. Their Blue Bean account hasn't really worked as well as eBucks. They've been a bit late to the party with Samsung tablets, while most people might still prefer the Apple tablets. So it's going to be tough to overtake FirstRand, and I don't expect that to happen.
Maybe have a different kind of disclosure now. Who do you bank with, Paul?
Personal bank with Standard Bank, business bank with First National. So I'm on either sides of this debate.
Jean-Pierre?
Bank with Investec.
Right, so you're not in this game from a personal perspective, and you've got a foot in both corners.
Well, I think it's fascinating because as a result, I've seen the branches, and what JP says about the FirstRand, First National Bank branch is absolutely true. They've taken the part where you have to go through a secure point, where the cash exchange is right into the back. They've introduced this sort of IT-driven thing where you get the iPads and so on. We all know about the Steve ads on the radio. So I think they've really been very aggressive. They've been hoovering up business. However, I will tell you that most private banking services are not particularly profitable for the bank to offer. The money is made from larger clients, particularly on the lending side. The trouble is you don't know when you acquire a new 18-year-old's banking account whether this is going to be one of those kind of people or whether this is going to be some kind of lowlife that never turns over any money at all. So it's part of a sort of a filtering approach, and they would obviously like to get the better quality clients that will be the ones that are turned on by the technology offerings and so on and so forth.
From a personal banking perspective, hot or not, do I do that now? I'm a bit confused. What do I say?
We can talk about that. I think the question we've got to say to ourselves as we build this picture, comparing these two stocks, is who's got the better operation?
Okay, so in personal banking, who's the hottest?
Well, I think Standard Bank has long been the sort of staid market leader. They have a sort of a homegrown look to all of their systems. Their ATMs look a little bit like they were engineered in the shop at the back. The website looks like it was designed by the people running the bank as opposed to a kind of graphic artist or designer.
So you're knocking Standard Bank on this
FNB
front.
definitely has the edge in this environment with regard to the sort of sexiness of its product. But as I say, how that translates in terms of profitability is a little bit less clear.
So we're
to me.
going with First Rand hot on this.
Slightly hotter in this environment.
Jean-Pierre?
I would agree with that. You see Michael Jordan being on Twitter, being very active, getting the youth in, which is the future banking market for all these banks. You can buy your Kruger Rands through First National Bank. They've plugged into PayPal for international payments. So between the two, I think FNB is a bit more hot than Standard Bank Personal Bank.
You wanted to make another point?
Yes, just one additional point is that the banks have been quite aggressive, both of these two, in recent years with regard to extension of credit on the credit card side of the business as they've perceived the economy to be recovering. And both of them very aggressive on unsecured lending because the margins on that are very good. So if you've banked with either of these banks, they've been very aggressive about offering you loans at the ATMs, offering you loans via, pamphlets delivered, stuffed into your statement, that kind of thing. And I mean, that is part of the anxiety out there in the marketplace at the moment, that the debt levels there are a little bit unsustainable, that the bad debts are going to be a little bit tricky, and that they've all perhaps been a little bit too reckless.
What are you saying?
Well, I think what you need to notice is that for both of them, they've made a lot of money in that area. And it does just worry, for me anyway, that that could be an area where the profitability will slow down.